Spring has arrived in the woodland garden. It marks the start of the garden's year. By late April, the daffodils and primroses have faded and have been replaced with forget-me-nots, campions and bluebells. When we first became custodians of the garden 10 years ago, the woodland was just 20 years old. It was overgrown, dense with blackthorn and brambles. I found just one single bluebell. We gently cleared the woodland floor, making nature piles for insects and small mammals. Light returned to the woodland, and the bluebells and the woodland wildflowers have started to thrive. Because of this increase in biodiversity, the woodland is now visited by a far wider variety of birds and insects, such as the nomad bee, which can now be found in the garden, feeding on the nectar of the wild garlic. Spring is a time to forage in the woodland. Young nettles, sorrel, tricorn leek, garlic mustard, and even young beech leaves can all add diversity to our daily diet. Summer is a quiet time in the woodland. This spring's fledgling birds grow fat on the insects who enjoy this cooler, damper habitat. Goldfinches feast on the seed heads, and blackbirds devour the ripening fruit on the rowan trees. As summer edges towards autumn, we fell the trees devastated by ash dieback disease. There were over 100 ash trees in the woodland. All have been affected by the disease. There are now large gaps throughout the woodland where mature ash trees have been felled, logged and chipped. Saplings to replace the lost trees are planted in the winter. Autumn is fleeting in our woodland. Despite Cornwall's temperate climate, the woodland transitions from autumn to the appearance of winter far earlier than those found elsewhere in Britain. As the leaves start to turn towards their golden hues, strong coastal winds rip them from their branches, and by November the trees are laid bare. Winter is a magical time in the woodland. The way the sunlight streams through the branches of the trees brings so much joy when there's little else happening in the garden. Winter is always the busiest time for working on the woodland. A big job is always splitting the ash that were felled in the autumn. The logs are stacked on pallets in a sheltered corner of the woodland to season. We leave gaps between the log piles to ensure the air can circulate around them to help them dry, and cover them with tin sheets to keep the rain off. These logs will remain here for a year until they're taken to the woodshed beside the house. Hazel is coppiced before the sap rises. We cut thin poles to use as plant supports in the cut flower garden. Thicker poles are cut to use as fencing stakes for our dead hedges. And saplings are planted to replace the trees felled in the autumn. Before we know it, the year has turned full circle, and once again the catkins and the primroses are with us, a sign that spring is once again on its way. A whole year has passed in the woodland garden.